Hey guys, today we're doing a tutorial on the best way to do Crossroads. Today I'm going to teach you which cars are the easiest to loot, which ones are kind of moderate, and which ones are the hardest, and a bunch of other tips and tricks for Crossroads. Crossroads is the best place to get rubber parts, and it is the fastest way to get glue. There are better ways of getting glue, but it is the fastest way. So if you need glue quickly, Crossroads is where you want. Now the best way to do Crossroads is to use res box trick, where you have one person go and get all the zombies and run off while you're still invulnerable, and then you get the next guy to go do the same thing, which clears out all of the zombies, and then you just loot the vehicles and then leave. And then you get the next guy to do the same thing, and then you just loot the two cars and then leave. So that is the cheapest way to do it, but it costs a lot of energy to do it that way, and the devs will probably fix it in the next update. So the second best way to do it is to bring some melee items and just deal with the easy cars. The first easy car is this one right here on the right. So clearing that group of zombies isn't that difficult, and this car gives just as good of loot as the other more difficult cars. So this car is definitely one you should do each time. And you can do this car solo if you want to, but in order to do that, you really need a revolver. The revolver has the leg shot skill, which if you wait until the horde or the group of zombies that are attacking you get into a line, you can shoot and slow all of them down, and then stutter step with the revolver and kill them all by yourself. I don't recommend doing that, but it is possible to solo these first two cars. The other car I'm talking about is this one over here. You need to clear, of course, these guys just like you cleared them the last one. Alright, so you can see how he's slowed all of the zombies. It's really easy for us to mess with them. I'm gonna go ahead and slow them myself. I did not do as good of a job as he did. But the revolver skill is really helpful against these guys, because what can overwhelm you in Crossroads is how many zombies are attacking you at such a fast speed. It can damage you faster than Tuna can heal you. I'm using bandages here because I have a really good teammate who's tanking for me, but it's definitely smarter to use Tuna. I would not recommend using MREs because you want to save those for the harder boss like the miner, but you can obviously use those as well. Another quick note about these two cars is whoever sets off the alarm is going to get targeted by the enemies. This allows you guys to pick who is going to tank and who is going to damage deal. I do not have to wear armor in this instance because they are the guys activating the car alarms, and I don't really need to use Tuna either. Not that Tuna is that expensive, but in this case I can save my Tuna and use bandages, which are even cheaper, and they can tank for me. My recommendation for these two cars is to bring a team of 3 if you can, and just use all melee weapons. They are really easy. They are the ones you want to do every time you do Crossroads. The next group of cars are a little bit more difficult. With these group of cars, instead of using cleavers, you may have to use, a few of you may have to use some guns. You can use zip gun and shield if you want, especially if you're tanking, but the revolver is again one of the most effective weapons for Crossroads because it can really slow down the mob that attacks you when the car alarm goes off, which is the main reason why people die in Crossroads. In my opinion, this car is even easier than the middle one because you have more places to run. So sometimes the alarm does not go off on all of these cars. This one is not, but even if the alarm did go off, this one is not as hard as some of the other cars because you just have so much space to run. The hardest car is this one coming up here. When you're doing this car, it is very important that all of you guys have guns, and many of you have leg shot. But honestly, I don't really recommend looting this car because it's twice as hard as the others, and it gives the same amount of loot. So to recap, these two easier cars each have 5 zombies that spawn. It's either 3 runners and 2 spitters, or 3 spitters and 2 runners, but either way, it is not that difficult, and the loot is still just as good for those cars. This car has a chance of getting 7 to 9 zombies spawn, which is a lot more difficult, but still can be pretty easy as long as you have 3 people. This car over here most likely will have 10 zombies, but there's a lot of places to run, which makes it pretty easy if you have a good team. But then this last car has 11 to 12 zombies spawn, which is probably not worth it for the resources that you get. So as we just showed you, it's not that hard for a good team, but in my opinion, the resources spent on killing those 12 zombies is not worth the resources you get from the car. So that's how you loot Crossroads. Big shout out to the Metal Fighter for farming Crossroads like 100 times and coming up with all of these tips for us. He is applying for the research team of this channel, and this is his first big project, and I think he did a really good job. So please give him a big shout out in your comments on this video. All right, guys, I'll see you next time.